Structure of SVG document. Basically, SVG document consists of three parts: SVG header, body, and list of shapes. SVG header is the main tag in document. It contains version. It can be 1.0 and newer 1.1. Also, SVG contains the base profiler. Attribute describes the minimum SVG language profile that the author believes is necessary to correctly render the content. The attribute does not specify any processing restrictions. Possible values for base profile is none, which represents the minimum SVG language configuration file that does not describe the author's view of the correct rendering of content. Full represents a normal profile defined to be suitable for PCs, plus basic and tiny, which is really used rarely. The viewbox attribute defines the position and dimension in user space of an SVG viewport. The value of the viewbox attribute is the list of four numbers: min x, minimum y, width, and height, separated by white space or comma, which specify a rectangle in user space which is mapped to the bound of the viewport established for the associated element. The next is going SVG body. Body contained a few tags like title. Initially, it is for shortly describing the semantic content of the file. Next is going desk tag, which is SVG description. It can contain a few lines of description and making easier to understand the individual parts of the code. Plus defs. In defs we can define patterns, markers, passes, gradients, or some elements like library. And next comes SVG figures, which allows you to draw the vector images, or we can use paired text G with defining attribute ID. ID is using for reusing. General document template looks like on this slide. So we have generally some 10-11 lines where we can see SVG tag, and inside goes like XML structure, title, description, empty library with defs, and below we defined group with ID gr1, and inside of this group two rectangles. Result you can see below.